What if I told you that the universe has already delivered everything you asked for? Wealth, opportunities, financial freedom. But that, without realizing it, you gave it all back to yourself. It seems impossible, right? But what if the real reason abundance hasn't yet arrived in your life is because somehow you've unconsciously rejected it? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover now could completely change the way you view money, prosperity, and the power of your mind. Bob Proctor, one of the world's greatest financial mindset mentors, used to say that the universe responds to the frequency you emit, not the words you speak, nor the wishes you write down on paper, but the real vibration you carry within. And this is where many go wrong, because while they say they want abundance, they think of scarcity. While they ask for wealth, they fear loss. While they claim to trust the process, they continue to doubt themselves. Have you ever been there? That moment when it seems like everything is about to fall into place, and then something just stops? It's precisely at this invisible point that the blockage resides. The universe doesn't deny your requests, it simply reflects your vibration. And if deep down your mind is still programmed to believe that money is hard to come by, wealth is for the few, or it's not the right time, then the universe interprets this energy as a no, thank you. And the most surprising thing is that this happens all the time without you even realizing it. You ask for prosperity but feel guilty. You want freedom but carry fear. And so abundance knocks on your door and you unknowingly close it. But before you judge yourself, take a deep breath. Because this isn't your fault. It's programming. These are beliefs you've inherited, repeated, and reinforced for years without ever questioning them. Bob Proctor taught that the mind is like a magnet, and the kind of thoughts you feed are the kind of reality you attract. When you truly understand this, you begin to realize that attracting wealth isn't about doing more, but about to be different. It's about reprogramming the way you think, feel, and act when it comes to money and life. And the most powerful part is, the universe has already responded. It's not holding anything from you. Abundance has already been delivered. What's left is for you to make room to receive it. It sounds simple, but it's not easy because the subconscious tends to protect you from change, even when those changes are exactly what you need. Have you ever noticed how sometimes, when something good starts to happen, self-sabotage, sudden fear, and doubt arise? This is your mental system trying to keep you in the known, even if the known is scarcity. So what's blocking the flow of abundance in your life isn't bad luck, the economy, or the market. It's the internal frequency you've been emitting, the automatic thoughts that vibrate scarcity, the energy of worry that neutralizes the natural flow of the universe. Bob Proctor said, "What you want already exists. You just need to align with it." And it's precisely this alignment that most people never learn to achieve, because they live trapped by what they see, not what they feel. Now, imagine for a moment that you could change that. Imagine recognizing today the signs that the universe is trying to deliver abundance and for the first time, being ready to receive. It's no coincidence that you're here listening to this now. Nothing is by chance. You're about to understand, in a practical and profound way, how to reprogram your mind to vibrate at the frequency of wealth and open the doors to prosperity that have always been within your reach. But before you understand how to make this shift, you need to understand exactly where the blockage lies, that subtle point where you, without realizing it, reject what you so desperately desire. And that's what we're going to talk about now. But before we move on, I want to ask you something. Not as a simple gesture, but as part of this energy exchange we're building here. If this topic resonates with you, if at any point in this conversation you recognized yourself in something I said, leave a comment below with what resonated most with you. It could be a phrase, a memory, a new insight into money, or how you've been dealing with abundance. When you share your experience, it's not just a comment, it's energy set in motion. It's as if you're saying to the universe, "I'm ready to change." And you know what's most beautiful about all this? Someone might read your comment and wake up too. Sometimes, a single personal story is all it takes for someone else to realize they're not alone in this process. So write fearlessly in your own way. This space is for us to grow together, reprogram our minds, and raise the collective vibration. Oh, and if this content resonates with you, please leave a like. It may seem like a simple click, but for me and this channel, it means a lot. Each like is a sign that this message is reaching those who need to hear it. And that's what keeps this work alive. Purposeful and soulful. And of course, if you want to continue immersing yourself in this kind of knowledge, if you want to learn more and more about mental reprogramming, the spirituality of money, and the teachings of Bob Proctor, subscribe to the channel now. This way, you won't miss any future videos and will also help this community grow, reaching more people who are ready to open the doors of abundance with you. Your participation here is what keeps this all going. It's what allows more people to awaken, more minds to free themselves from beliefs of scarcity, and more lives to be transformed. So comment, like, subscribe, and let's continue together on this journey of expansion and financial awareness, because what comes next will help you see clearly exactly where the point of resistance lies that makes you reject wealth. And when you understand this, everything begins to change. Have you ever stopped to think about how many times life seems to confront you with the same situation, only changing the characters and the setting, but the outcome is always the same? It's as if the universe repeats the lesson until we finally understand what needs to be transformed. Bob Proctor said that nothing changes outside until something changes inside you. And when he talked about abundance, he wasn't just referring to money, but to the internal state of fullness, the natural flow of life that many of us block without realizing it. For years, I also believed that prosperity was a matter of luck, effort, or even being in the right place at the right time. And perhaps you've thought the same. But there's a hidden truth to all this. Abundance doesn't depend on circumstances, but on the frequency you emit. Bob Proctor called this the law of vibration. He explained that everything, absolutely everything, is energy in motion, including your thoughts. When you vibrate at the frequency of scarcity, life responds with lack. When you vibrate at the frequency of abundance, the universe returns in the form of opportunities, synchronicities, and true prosperity. But here comes the most curious point. Most people don't realize they're vibrating in scarcity, even when they believe they're asking for wealth. They say, "I want more money," but fear not having enough. They affirm, "I trust the process," but doubt in the silence of their mind. They repeat, "I am prosperous, but remain trapped in feelings of guilt and insecurity." And that's where mental reprogramming comes in, not as a mystical concept, but as a powerful tool to change the internal pattern that controls everything you manifest. Bob Proctor used to say that before becoming a global figure, he was also in debt, unmotivated, and without perspective. What changed his life wasn't earning more money, but understanding how the mind really works. He learned to align thought, emotion, and action, and from then on everything began to transform. And this is liberating, because it means that abundance isn't out there waiting for you to earn it. It's already here, waiting for you to tune into it. This is the great revelation that changes everything. The universe doesn't deny requests, it simply responds to your vibration. When you think about prosperity but feel fear, what prevails is the feeling. The universe doesn't understand words, it understands energy. That's why when Bob Proctor talked about the wealth mindset, he wasn't just referring to positive thinking, but feel positive, to internally experience the emotional state of abundance even before it manifests. It's as if you need to energetically prove that you're ready to receive. And that's where the most challenging part comes in. The rational mind resists. It questions, doubts, seeks proof, wants to control the timing of things. But the universe doesn't operate by logic. It responds to vibrational faith, to the coherence between what you feel and what you believe. Your bank account is merely a mirror of your internal state. If there is scarcity, worry, and fear within you, the reflection will always be the same. But if there is trust, expansion, and gratitude within you, the reflection changes, inevitably. When we understand this, we realize that the true journey of transformation begins in the mind. It's the mind that decides what you attract, what you repel, what you allow, and what you sabotage. And this is the point Bob Proctor emphasized most. It's not about learning more, but about unlearning what limits you. Abundance is natural, scarcity is learned, and everything learned can be reprogrammed. This is where almost everyone gives up, and that's precisely where transformation begins, when you decide to reprogram your mind and no longer accept scarcity as normal. Because when you understand that your results aren't a result of chance but of your mindset, you begin to take control. And this is what separates those who merely desire prosperity from those who truly manifest it. Understand that change doesn't begin with large external actions, but with small internal decisions. Decisions to observe yourself, to question your own beliefs, to choose thoughts that expand rather than contract. This is the true silent revolution, the one that happens behind the scenes of the mind when no one is watching. It is in this internal space that reality begins to be reshaped. And perhaps now you're asking yourself, but how do I change something I don't always notice? The answer lies in awareness. When you begin to observe your thoughts with curiosity, not judgment, you create a space between what you feel and what you choose to believe. And it's in this space that the power of transformation is born. From this point on, every mental choice becomes a vibrational statement to the universe. Every time you decide to think differently, act with more confidence, or be grateful for something that's still in process, you're adjusting your frequency. This is mental reprogramming in practice, a journey of realignment between what you want and what you truly vibrate. And the most incredible thing is realizing that this doesn't require perfection, just presence. Because the universe doesn't expect you to be flawless, but rather to be consistent. That you feel what you say, that you believe what you say, that you see yourself as someone worthy of thriving. This is the moment when fear begins to lose its power, and the mind, little by little, opens to receive what previously seemed distant. So tell me one thing. What inside you is ready to be reprogrammed? Write in the comments, I choose prosperity, not fear. When you understand that everything in the universe is vibration, you begin to see life through a completely different lens. Nothing is random, nothing happens out of the blue. Every thought you have, every emotion you feel, every action you take, all of this emits a frequency, as if it were an invisible signal sent to the universe. And the universe precisely and relentlessly returns what is in tune with that frequency. It's simple, yet profoundly transformative. You don't attract what you want. You attract what vibrates. It seems subtle, but therein lies the difference between those who manifest wealth and those who remain trapped in scarcity, because most people desire prosperity, but vibrate with fear. They dream of freedom, but live in worry. They visualize abundance, but feel a lack. And the universe, which doesn't understand words, responds to the dominant emotion. When your primary feeling is insecurity or doubt, it's as if you're energetically saying, I'm not ready, and without realizing it, you reject what you asked for. This is the hidden truth behind Bob Proctor's statement. The universe has already delivered abundance, but you've unknowingly rejected it. He's not saying life is unfair, but that it's too demanding. You receive exactly what corresponds to your inner state. And the most intriguing thing is that this rejection doesn't happen consciously. It manifests itself behind the scenes of your mind, where your deep-seated beliefs determine the limits of what you believe you deserve. Imagine someone who spends their life repeating, I want to be rich. But deep inside there's a voice saying, rich me, that's not for me. Or if I have too much money, I'll lose the ones I love. This contradiction creates a confusing vibrational field. On the outside there's desire. On the inside there's resistance. And when the inner and outer aren't in coherence, the universe interprets this as a mixed signal and simply returns more of the same. Indecision, blockages, opportunities that come and go. This is where almost everyone gives up. And this is precisely where transformation begins, when you decide to reprogram your mind and no longer accept scarcity as normal. Because when you understand the invisible mechanics of the universe, you realize that abundance isn't a prize, it's a reflex. It doesn't need to be earned, it needs to be allowed. And allowing is an act of alignment, not effort. It all starts with beliefs. Beliefs generate emotions. Emotions influence your actions, and actions create results. If you try to change the outcome without changing your belief, it's like trying to change your reflection in the mirror without touching your face. That's why, even after trying various strategies, many people remain stuck in the same cycle. True change happens when you alter the emotional pattern that underpins your decisions. Think about it. Every time you sabotage yourself, delay a plan, or hesitate to act, it's not a lack of discipline. It's a reflection of an unconscious emotion. It's fear disguised as prudence, guilt disguised as responsibility. And as long as these feelings govern your actions, the vibration remains the same, keeping reality in the same place. Bob Proctor always said that the subconscious mind is life's operating system, It runs on autopilot, recreating the same experiences until you retrain it. And this process of re-education is in essence an awakening. It's when you begin to realize that every thought is an energetic choice. Choosing to think abundantly is choosing to make room for it to manifest. When you feel gratitude, even before you have what you want, you're proving to the universe that you already recognize the flow of prosperity. This is why people with the same background, the same talent, and even the same opportunities have such different results. What changes is the frequency each sustains. This is the part many people overlook because it's easier to blame the outside world than to look within. But everything begins and ends within. When you change the internal, the external naturally reorganizes itself. The right job appears, the idea emerges, the connection manifests. And the most interesting thing is that this doesn't happen by magic, but by vibrational coherence. You become the kind of person who attracts what previously seemed impossible. And perhaps now something inside you is beginning to stir, a sense of recognition, as if a silent part of your mind finally understands what was missing. This is the first sign of reprogramming, when consciousness awakens and begins to question the old narrative. So tell me, are you willing to release old beliefs and make room for the new? Comment: I release sabotage and receive abundance, and when you begin to notice these patterns, everything gains new clarity. That constant fear of not being enough, the urge to sabotage yourself just when something good is about to happen. All of this stops being a mystery and becomes a conscious choice. It's almost as if for the first time, you're seeing behind the scenes of your own mind. And that's where the power lies, because what is seen can be transformed. Now, if this topic has resonated with you, if this idea of reprogramming your frequency and activating your own wealth signal made sense, I've prepared a resource specifically to help you put this into practice quickly and clearly. It's called the Wealth Signal. It complements everything we're talking about here and was created to guide you through the real experience of vibrational alignment with abundance. The key to this material is the 9-word wealth script, a simple yet extremely powerful technique that immediately activates your prosperity signal, that internal state where your mind and the universe begin to speak the same language. It's straightforward, practical, and designed to be used in your daily life in just a few minutes without complications. If it makes sense to you, check out the link I left below. It's in the description. I might take it down in the next few days, so if this content is helping you, take advantage of it while it's still available. This material was created for those who want to move beyond the realm of ideas and truly experience the impact of vibrational reprogramming, applied to their financial and emotional lives. What follows will show you how this process is consolidated and how the universe responds when you finally start vibrating in the right way. When we talk about rejecting abundance without realizing it, many people imagine it happens through big decisions or drastic actions. But the truth is that the biggest blockages lie in the little things, in repeated beliefs, in the phrases we blurt out without thinking, in the automatic habits that seem harmless, but constantly send scarcity signals. And the most striking thing is that we almost always do this thinking we're being realistic, when in fact we're reinforcing the very frequency we want to change. The first way to reject abundance is through limiting beliefs. These are old, often inherited ideas that shape the way you view money. Phrases like "money is dirty," "those who have a lot of money are greedy," or "you can't have it all" are like invisible programs running in the back of your mind, sabotaging your flow of prosperity. And the curious thing is that these beliefs are rarely conscious. They hide in automatic phrases, in decisions that seem logical but actually stem from fear. That's why even when a good opportunity arises, you hesitate. It's your subconscious telling you, this isn't for you. The second form is misaligned identity. It happens when you desire something that doesn't match your self-image. You want to prosper, but deep down you see yourself as someone who always struggles to get things. This dissonance creates a powerful internal conflict. The universe responds to what you believe you are, not what you say you want. If your identity vibrates with scarcity, abundance even tries to approach, but finds no space to stay. And this explains why some people seem to attract good opportunities, but can't keep them. The third way is through self-sabotaging behaviors, and this is where theory meets practice. You even believe you can prosper, but you act as if you can't. You postpone decisions, Procrastinate. Get lost in distractions, spend what you haven't earned yet, or settle for "I'll see later." These small gestures, repeated every day, form an energetic pattern of resistance. It's as if you're saying to the universe, "I want to, but not right now." And the universe responds, "Okay, I'll wait." But it keeps waiting, along with you. The fourth form is the language of scarcity. Words have vibrations. And every time you say, "I never have enough," "It's hard, I can't afford it," you're sending an energetic command of lack. Even if you say it jokingly, your subconscious doesn't understand irony. It records the message and transforms it into a perception of reality. Have you ever noticed how some people constantly say they're broke and, curiously, they always are? It's no coincidence. It's vibrational consistency. And the most powerful thing is that the opposite is also true. The more you speak the language of abundance, the more it manifests. And finally, we have the misaligned actions. This is one of the most subtle traps, because it gives a false sense of movement. You have great intentions, make incredible plans, but when it comes to action, you hesitate. Actions don't support the size of the dream. It's like trying to harvest without sowing. Bob Proctor always said that the universe rewards coherent movement, not haste but clarity. When your actions don't reflect your intentions, you send mixed signals, and the energy doesn't know where to flow. The most fascinating thing about all this is realizing that these 5 ways of rejecting abundance aren't character flaws. They're unconscious patterns. They're the mind's behind-the-scenes mechanics operating on autopilot, repeating old stories that no longer align with your new awareness. And it's precisely in this moment of recognition that change begins. Because when you identify the pattern, it loses its power. When you observe scarcity clearly, it stops silently ruling your life. This is where almost everyone gives up. And that's precisely where transformation begins. When you decide to reprogram your mind and no longer accept scarcity as normal. When you understand that you don't need to fight anything, but rather create internal space for something new to flourish. This is the silent shift, the one that happens within you before any results appear on the outside. And perhaps now you realize that abundance was never about deserving, but about tuning in. Everything you want already exists. The challenge is learning to sustain the frequency that attracts, not the one that repels. Tell me in the comments, which of these 5 patterns do you recognize in yourself? Comment. My mind is a magnet for prosperity. Now that you understand how the mind rejects abundance without realizing it, the next step is to make room for a new vibration. Bob Proctor always said that the mind doesn't accept emptiness. It needs a new pattern to replace the old. That's why reprogramming is much more than just positive thinking. It's a conscious process of rebuilding the way you think, feel, and act when faced with wealth. It's almost like changing the internal software that drives your daily decisions. It all starts with the first step. Become aware. It seems simple, but it's the most powerful of all. Spend just one day observing your thoughts about money, success, and worthiness. Write down what emerges without judgment. You'll be surprised at how often your mind repeats old phrases, inherited from others. This is your hidden truth, the silent background that defines how you vibrate. Without realizing it, you may be programming yourself to lose, and the act of observing is already the beginning of transformation. Because what is seen can no longer be ignored. The second step is rewrite beliefs. Take one of those phrases you wrote down and ask yourself, what if it were the other way around? What if money could be a reflection of my personal growth? What if I truly were worthy of abundance? This simple question breaks the mental pattern of scarcity and opens space for a new perspective. Bob Proctor taught that every belief is born from emotional repetition. Therefore, use affirmations with feeling, not rushing. Say with intention, I allow abundance to flow to me with ease. Emotion is the trigger that rewires the subconscious. The third step is the daily view. Just 5 minutes a day is enough to shift your mental frequency. Close your eyes and imagine yourself living the reality you desire, not just seeing it but feeling it. Feel the security of prosperity, the relief of not having to chase it, the gratitude of seeing everything flowing. The brain doesn't distinguish between imagination and real experience, and this creates a vibrational bridge with what you want to attract. It's as if you're training your energy to recognize the future before it even arrives. The fourth step is to act. But here the secret is in the microscopic actions. Many people think they need to take a giant leap, but reprogramming begins with small, consistent gestures. If your new belief is, "I'm responsible for my finances," then prove it with a simple action. Organize your accounts, save for $10, study investments, or refuse an impulse purchase. Each micro-action sends an energetic message to the universe and your subconscious that you're ready for more. This is how your new identity begins to take hold. And the fifth step is modeling an environment. Proctor said, if you want to change your results, change the environment that creates them. Start surrounding yourself with people, content and routines that reinforce prosperity. Read books that expand your mindset. Follow mentors who live the way you want to live. Listen to stories of financial overcoming. This isn't superficial motivation, it's vibrational adjustment. Your environment has a direct impact on what you believe is possible. And each new reference helps your mind get used to the idea of thriving. When you combine these 5 steps, you create a conscious cycle of reprogramming. You observe, replace, feel, act, and expose yourself to the new. This process slowly rewrites how you perceive the world, and more importantly, how the world responds to you. It's like tuning an antenna. The clearer the tuning, the clearer the transmission of abundance. It's at this point that almost everyone gives up. And that's precisely where transformation begins. When you decide to reprogram your mind and no longer accept scarcity as normal. When you choose to act even without guarantees, trust even without proof, and sustain a new frequency until it becomes natural. It's at that moment that the universe recognizes your new pattern and begins to respond. Now tell me, which of these steps will you start practicing today? Comment, "I choose prosperity, not fear." Now take a deep breath with me. This is the moment to transform everything you've heard so far into real experience. Bob Proctor said that the mind only believes what it feels, and that's why we're now going to feel abundance, not just talk about it. This little exercise is simple, but it has a profound impact when done with presence. No matter where you are, just allow yourself to be present for a few moments. Close your eyes, inhale deeply through your nose, and exhale slowly through your mouth. Once more, breathe and exhale. And on the third breath, imagine releasing all tension, all fear, all beliefs of scarcity that have been with you for years. Feel your body becoming lighter, as if an old layer is beginning to peel away. Now visualize a bank account before you, and within it a number that brings you comfort, security, and peace of mind. A number that makes you breathe a sigh of relief and mentally say, "It's okay, I have enough, I am enough." Feel that number grow gently. See the digits increasing, and allow yourself to feel the emotion of gratitude, the relief of no longer having to rush, the joy of being able to choose. Hear the sound of money flowing like music. Imagine yourself wearing the clothes you've always wanted, walking tall and confident. Visualize yourself helping others, accomplishing something that fills you with purpose. And notice how the feeling of abundance takes over every part of your body, from your heart to your fingertips. Now repeat mentally with intention and emotion. I am worthy. I receive wealth with ease and joy. Repeat it again, but this time feel as if it were an unquestionable truth. With each repetition, your energy aligns more and more with this new frequency. You are literally sending a new vibrational command to the universe, a clear signal that you are ready to receive. Stay in this state for a few seconds. Feel the power of calm, the confidence that arises when you no longer need to fight the flow. This is the hidden truth Bob Proctor wanted everyone to understand. Abundance doesn't come when you force it, but when you allow it. Now very slowly open your eyes. Bring this feeling into the present and write down a small action you will take today to prove this new belief. It can be something simple, but it should confirm this new identity that is emerging within you. This exercise, when practiced daily, begins to shift something behind the scenes in your mind. It reconfigures the internal pattern that was previously stuck in lack and activates a new vibration, that of conscious prosperity. And the most incredible thing is that thousands of people around the world have already proven the effect of this practice. And it's not magic. It's focus, it's decision-making, it's mindset in action. This is where almost everyone gives up. And that's precisely where transformation begins, when you decide to reprogram your mind and no longer accept scarcity as normal. When you understand that true freedom isn't about how much you earn, but about what you believe you can attract. And now tell me, what did you feel during this exercise? Comment, I release sabotage and receive abundance. You know what's most inspiring? Seeing ordinary people like you and me applying these principles and completely transforming their own reality. I remember a story Bob Proctor used to tell about a woman who kept repeating the almost made it pattern, almost closing deals, almost paying off debts, almost achieving the comfort she dreamed of. When she started applying the 5 reprogramming steps, something changed. In just 3 months, it wasn't money that appeared out of nowhere. It was confidence. She stopped acting from fear and started acting from certainty. And it was this new energy that attracted the right opportunities. The result? A real increase in income, but most importantly, a profound sense of inner freedom. This is what Proctor called true personal power. And perhaps this is the time to ask yourself, how much longer will you wait to discover that the universe has already placed abundance at your door? Because it's already there, just waiting for you to align yourself. Every day you postpone this decision is one more day vibrating in scarcity. And let's face it, this energy has already brought you this far, but it won't take you any further. The good news is that the process doesn't have to be long or complicated. It just takes consistency. That's why I want to offer you a short roadmap, something practical to get you started right now. Imagine a 7-day journey to completely adjust your prosperity frequency. In the first 2 days, the focus is pure conscience. Observe your thoughts. Notice what your mind repeats and what emotions are behind it. On days 3 and 4, rewrite, exchange old beliefs for new true affirmations. On the 5th day, immerse yourself in visualization. Feel what it's like to live in abundance. On the 6th day, it's time for action, even if small, something that proves to your mind that you are already vibrating differently. And on the 7th day, do honest review. What changed inside you? What became lighter? What began to flow? This 7-day plan is the first step toward profound transformation. It's a simple practice, but it has a direct impact on how the universe responds to your energy. And the best part is that the more you practice, the more natural it becomes to live in this harmony. Prosperity ceases to be a distant desire and becomes a state of presence. This is where almost everyone gives up. And that's precisely where transformation begins, when you decide to reprogram your mind and no longer accept scarcity as normal. When you realize that the secret was never outside but within, when you understand that money is just a reflection of your expanding consciousness. Now I want to leave you with a choice. Continue believing that abundance is far away, or decide, once and for all, that it is already yours. Comment, I attract wealth because I think about prosperity. If you've made it this far, you can feel that something within you has already begun to shift. Perhaps still subtly, almost imperceptibly, but real. This is how reprogramming begins, like a new frequency slowly taking hold, until you realize that thinking about prosperity has become your natural state. And if this content made you reflect, if at any point you felt that inner click, like something finally made sense, please leave a like on this video. This shows me that it's worth continuing to share this kind of message, and it helps more people find this path too. Oh, and if you stayed with me until the end, I want you to comment below, I'm with you until the end, so I know that you are part of this group of people who are truly committed to growing from the inside out, not just in theory but in practice. And if you want to continue expanding this mindset, there's a video right here that complements this very topic. It's the next step in this transformational journey. Click and stay with me there, because the abundance you seek has already begun moving toward you.